Happy weekend, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? Thank you for stopping by. It's always much appreciated. See, we got a lot of good people in the chat already. I hope everybody's start to the weekend has started off really good. I know mine has. We did some ice fishing today and it went pretty well. How's it going, Lever Guns? Good to see you. Hope your night's going well. We got Budget Bushcraft out in the chat. Cody Spinks. Bass and Minks TV. Farm Hall Fanatic. How's everybody doing? We had went ice fishing again today. We went out with my dad and Jackson and we did some more spear fishing. We seen some more fish and we got a couple and we were successful, so it was a good day. It was a warm day out there too. It was right around freezing out there, so. And I did just finish editing the next episode. Of when my dad speared his biggest fish of his life. So that is all edited up. I'm going to upload it tonight, and it should go live tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. How's it going, Darren's Northern Life? Good to see you. I'm trying to get today's ice fishing video editing and up some. I'm going to pop in and out a bit. All right. Did you guys have any luck today out on the Red River? Bass and Binks, I am doing great, buddy. I hope you are also doing fantastic. 8-Bit Reactor, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. I hope your weekend is going well. I plan on getting out fishing again tomorrow. A buddy of mine is going to put his house out tomorrow, so we're going to help with that. And then we'll probably cut another spear hole in the ice and do some more spearing. Darren's Northern Life says, yeah, we caught a bunch of fish today. It was a lot of fun. Well, that is awesome. I'll be sure to check out your video when you get it up. Bass and Mink said, I fished today with my buddy. How'd you guys do? Emmanuel, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. I hope your weekend is going well. We went out spearfishing today and did pretty good. We seen quite a few fish come through and hit the decoy. We had a couple really active fish that came in really fast, grabbed the decoy, and shot back out of the hole. There's one fish that did that a couple times. It was pretty fun watching that. Goobert's Outdoors, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. How's your weekend going? Bass and Bink says, didn't get anything, we left late. Well, hopefully you had some fun anyway out there. Were you guys trying for bass or? There was a lot of people out on the lake today where we were fishing. They had plowed a couple roads out there, which allowed better access for people. I even seen a couple minivans out there. And they were fishing right off the plowed road. There got to be quite a few houses set up around us by the time we left. Here in Minnesota, you can spear from sunup to sunset, so it's still pretty light when we packed up, but there was a lot of people out there getting into the crappie bite and the walleyes. It turned pretty foggy on us out there today, too. When we got out there, the sun was shining, and then about a couple hours of being out there, fog rolled in and it was pretty foggy for the rest of the day. Budget Bushcraft says, the water off my dock freezes but too quickly to ice fish. We're sitting on about 16 to 17 inches of ice now on the lake still. There's getting to be quite a bit of snow out there. The last couple days, a lot of it melted, so it was a little tougher driving out there just because it was stickier snow. But I was still able to drive pretty much anywhere I wanted to. I did see a couple vehicles get stuck and have to push themselves out. And then, of course, the minivans and the cars, they stayed to the plowed roads, but only a couple inches thick, Budget Bushcraft says. Yeah, our ice gets pretty thick up here in Minnesota. there's times where we'll see 3-foot ice late in the season. Outsider, how's it going, buddy? I hope your weekend's going great. Thanks for stopping by. Tyler James Outdoors says, anyone want to help me to get to 370? There's a lot of good channels out there in the chat. Feel free to check each other out. The only thing I ask is don't use a subscribe word in the chat. Better yet, go to a person's channel, pull up their latest video, hit that like button, hit their subscribe button, leave them a comment, and I'm sure that they'll return the favor. A lot of good supporters and good channels out there in the chat. So yeah, we plan on setting up my buddy's fish house tomorrow, and then I think we may go sit in the angling house for a little bit, and then probably set up the spear house and see if we can't see a couple more northerns. But PGH Bottom Feeders, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. I hope your weekend's going fantastic. If anybody hasn't hit that like button yet, please do so. It's always appreciated. And if you haven't yet, consider hitting the subscribe button. All the support is always appreciated. And feel free to check each other out in the chat. Show each other some love. Don't forget to go to that person's page, pull up their last video, hit the like button, leave them a comment. So has anybody else had any adventures that they've gone on this weekend or plan on going on before the weekend's over? I think the crappie bite is just starting around here on the lake that I'm on. I haven't talked directly to my buddy yet, but I've seen a couple pictures, and they were fishing up in 4 feet of water and catching 12-inch crappies, so that looked pretty fun. We might have to try to go to some shallower water and see if we can't find those too. Bass and Pink says, Hunter Hook and Hunt TV is muzzleloading hunting at his cabin. He said earlier today that he missed a doe. Well, I hope he finds better luck and is able to bag a deer this weekend. Darren's Northern Life is going ice fishing again tomorrow. Same place, same time. Awesome, buddy. Good luck to you guys. Your sister and brother, I believe, went with you. Did they catch any fish too? We had Jackson threw the spear again today at a fish. He was the first one up to throw a spear, and he put up a good throw on it, but he did miss it. It was probably around a 4-pound northern that came in. It was a pretty good northern. So he still hasn't gotten his first fish with the spear yet, but he'll keep trying. Darren says, yes, both the kids got on fish as well. Awesome. That is really cool. Swamp Stalker Outdoors, how is it going, buddy? Hope your weekend's going fantastic. I am having a great weekend. We went out ice fishing today again. Had some luck. We were spearing for northerns. Jackson got to throw the spear too. He fortunately missed the northern, but he's still trying, and he'll find success here one of these days. Budget Bushcraft says, I live in the White River in Indiana, flows up from upper Ohio to Tennessee and has been flooding, no ice. Well, that's too bad. Do you guys usually get pretty good ice around there? Or? Yeah, Swamp Stalker, it's pretty good. He a nice northern came in, it sat real good for him. He lined up on it and threw it, and it just missed it. The Northern, I don't know if he's seen the spear coming since he threw it a little slow, or he just twisted his hand a little bit when he threw it his wrist, and the spear went just to the left of him. But he'll keep trying. He's thrown the spear now 3 times. Still is looking for his first fish, but he'll get it. I was able to spear a fish today. My dad did not throw the spear today. He had a fish come in a couple times. It came in really quick, grabbed the decoy, let it go, and then swam back out, and then came back around and hit it again. But there just was no time to get the spear in the water to spear it. Budger Bushcraft says, not really. The weather here keeps us from the flow stopping and freezing. Yeah. That's one thing I do like about the cold weather is the ice fishing. That's one benefit of the cold. About the only benefit, but Swamp Stalker Outdoors says, I never try using a spear. Sounds like fun. It is pretty fun. I finished editing the video from last weekend when we went spearing, so I'm going to upload that tonight, and it'll go live tomorrow. So be a lookout for that. It's pretty cool. I kind of go through the whole thing and how it works and how we cut the holes in the ice and everything. Bass and Bing says, I don't think there'll be much ice fishing this year in Ohio. Yeah, the weather's been really weird this year. You know, we've, even up here, we've gone from really warm weather to really cold weather back to, you know, pretty warm weather. The last 3 days we've been above freezing, and we actually hit 40 degrees on Friday, yesterday, which is really odd for this time of year. Usually our average temperature right now is around 18 degrees, and hitting 40 degrees is pretty odd. And really for the next 10 days, it looks pretty good in the upper 20s, low 30s. There might be a chance after that where some cold weather comes back down, but it's really odd this year too. We're lucky we got that cold weather early in the year where we at least got some good ice. Swamp Stalker says, we like to bowfish here. That's one thing that I've never tried yet. I have thought about it several times, but just have not tried the bow fishing yet. I've looked at some bows to be able to do it, some of the gear and stuff, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on buying it yet. Bass and Bing says, knowing Ohio will get hit with snow late this year. That's always a possibility, that late snowstorm. We ended up getting a pretty good snowstorm about a week ago, but a lot of that has melted over the last few days. We ended up getting 14 inches right around my house here, and some places got upwards of 20 inches of snow. And then we had 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, so we had pretty good whiteout blizzard conditions for that whole evening. But the last few days have been pretty nice. And there was a lot of ice houses going out today on the lake. A lot of big ice castles, a lot of RV additions, the big 26-foot houses. So it's going to get pretty busy out on the lake here, I think, over the next couple weeks. Swamp Stalker Outdoors says, I love being out in the swamps with lights at night. Amazing views. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. The views and the sounds at night in the swamp would be pretty cool. Darren's North Life says, I've got to run, guys. Have a great evening, everyone. Well, thanks for stopping by, Darren. You have a great weekend. We ended up just fishing right in the same spot where we fished last weekend. We just reopened up our spear hole. That only froze over to about 4 inches from since Tuesday when we were out there. Precision Angling, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. I hope your weekend is going fantastic. My brother even made it out. He fished about 50 yards from us tonight. He was still out there when we left. He had caught, I think he said 5 sunfish, and he had 1 northern at 22 inches. So he was getting a few of them, but he was just out there angling. And we were just in the same spot there, where about 8 feet of water. He was a little off the sunken island in about 12 feet of water. So I'll have to wait till later to see if he ran into some crappies or not. But he might have seen some if he stayed out there long enough. We ended up, I haven't put out our spear house yet. I have a spear house that is it's a skid house. We've just been spearing from the pop-up Eskimo house that I got. That works pretty good though. It's pretty easy to set up, and we can get it dark enough in there where we can see through the spear hole pretty good. We did that last year quite a bit too, and speared with that. It works pretty good. And we've been using the handsaw, which in the video that will come out tomorrow, I show that off, where we use a saw to actually cut through the ice. And the teeth that are on it and how much ice that it takes off of each stroke of using it, it's really like cutting hot butter. Really easy to cut the holes through the ice. Even when the ice gets thick, it's still pretty easy. Well, we ended up seeing 4 fish. The biggest one I would say was probably about 4 pounds. The other ones were around 2 or 3 pounds. Nothing real big, nothing like what my dad got on Tuesday, that 7.5 pounder, but there is a lot of bigger fish in that lake, so we're hoping to run across a couple more anyway. Precision Angling says, I had the chance of buying one of them saws for dirt cheap, like $40 or so at a salvage store. That would be a really good deal. They're like $160, $180 brand new. They are pretty expensive, and they work really good. If you want to cut a nice hole in the ice really quick, they really work really well. You pair that up with, what I like to do is I use my power auger, and I drill a few holes next to each other, and then I just go through and saw those out so it makes a really nice hole. And then sometimes I'll push the ice under, the chunk of ice that we cut out, I'll push it under the ice, or sometimes we'll pick it out and then bring it on top of the ice too. It just kind of depends on what I don't know, how we're feeling or how deep the water is. If we're in really, really shallow water, when you push it under, if you're, say, in 4 feet of water and the ice is 2 feet thick and you push that under, there's only 2 feet of clearance between the bottom and that chunk of ice. So I tend to not want to do it then, but as long as the water is deep enough, I tend to just push it under most of the time. Bass and Being says, I didn't record today. We arrived at the lake late, and every time I got to the lake, I don't catch anything. Precision Angler says I should have bought it. We can spear, but can dark house jig. Yeah, we can jig out of the dark house too up here. They changed that a few years ago. Oh, can't spear. Okay. I see. We can spear and angle out of the spear house. They changed that a few years back. They used to not allow you to do that because you can't use like perch and sunfish and stuff as bait up here. So they didn't want you catching that, leaving it in the water just on your angling rod to try to get the northerns to come in and then spear them. They did change that though, and they do allow you to angle now, but you can't leave them in the water. You have to take them out right away. Fat Man Fishing, how's it going, buddy? Hey, stopping by real quick to show you my love. Well, it's always appreciated, buddy. I hope your weekend's going great, and have a good night, bud. Yeah, that would suck, Precision Angler, not being able to spear. That's something that we've been able to do up here for a long time, and the first time that I went spearing was with a friend a long time ago. We did that, I think I was 12 years old when I speared for the first time. I ended up spearing a 10.5 pound northern, and I was hooked since. It's really cool. It can take patience though. There's times when you only see a few fish, and then there's other times where you see 50 or 60 fish, and it's a lot of fun though. I've had sunfish even come all the way right up into the hole under the above the ice line, and that's always pretty cool when they come up in there. The strangest thing that I've had come up the hole though was a muskrat. So we were spearing in some shallow water, and we had some tip-ups outside the house. The muskrat kept coming up those holes, and they would throw the tip-up over, and they'd sit on top of the ice for a while and get their breath or whatever, and they'd go back down. And I think what they were doing is they were going farther and farther out from their burrow in the bank, because they could come up for air. So once they knew the hole was there, they would go out, come up for air for a little bit, and they would go out a little farther and, you know, try to find food and whatnot. Well, he eventually found our spear hole, and he came right up into the house, and he sat right on my boot, and he was, you know, cleaning himself off, taking a breather for a little bit, and then back down the hole he went. And he kept doing that all night. He'd come by about every 25 minutes, and he'd come up the hole, he'd sit on my boot, he'd do his little thing, and then he'd go back down, and then he'd come back again in about 25 minutes. So it was pretty neat. And it didn't seem to affect the fish at all. You know, if he wasn't coming up my hole, he was still swimming around down there anyway. So, but the fish didn't seem to mind at all. At least the big northerns didn't care. I would imagine that throughout the year, the northerns actually eat some of those here and there, especially the smaller one. Swamp Stalker says, not sure if you can spear here in Florida. Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. I suppose it would definitely be a different type of spearing, maybe like with a spear gun or something like that. It'd be different than like the dark house spearing up here. Not sure if you can spear here in Ohio either. Yeah, I'm not sure. It is pretty fun though. If your state does allow it, I would suggest trying it once at least. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool, you know, seeing the fish down there through a big hole, watching them, the interaction with them. Sometimes those northerns, they'll come in really slow, and they'll just tip the whatever you have down there as a lure. We use these big wooden decoys, and then we'll also use like big sucker minnows that are 12 to 16 inches long, and we'll put those down there on like a harness, and they can just swim around. But otherwise we'll use wooden decoys, and sometimes they'll come up, and if that wooden decoy is just sitting there, they'll come up and they'll hit it with their nose a few times to try to get it to move, because they want to chase it. And you have it tied on a string, so then you'll jig it a little bit, and it kind of swims through the water. It'll have fins, and then the back tail we bend over so it will do a circle in the water when you pull on the string. And those fish, those northerns, will come in 100 miles an hour and grab that decoy, you know, turn with it, get to the end of the line, let it go. They'll swing back around, and they'll come in again like 100 miles an hour and grab that decoy again and bite it and let it go. It's pretty interesting watching them. I've seen them come in so fast where they like have bubbles right behind them. They'll come in like 100 miles an hour to smash the decoy. And it's pretty neat. I've never seen it myself, but there's stories that I've heard of other people that spear that they'll have like a 2-pound northern that will come in looking at their decoy, and then all of a sudden a big northern will come by and eat that other northern, and they'll see it right down in the hole. That's pretty neat too. I have seen them eat other sunfish, and I've seen them eat perch and stuff down there too, where the perch and sunfish will come and they'll kind of mingle around your hole. They get attracted to the decoy too, and all of a sudden the northern will come in and just grab one of them. A lot of the times when you have those other fish down there, if they kind of scurry out of there really quick, then you know there's one in the vicinity kind of, you know, stalking around. And that's usually when I get my spear ready and really look for one that's coming by. Fat Man Fishing says, all right, got to get back to my family duties. Keep your lines tight, boys. Well, thanks for stopping by, buddy. You have a great weekend. There'll be a bunch of fishing tournaments starting around here too. Usually they start the end of January and beginning of February. Well, they'll have a bunch of ice fishing tournaments around, so I plan on doing a couple of those too, and we'll probably do some videos with those also. But there's a couple big ones where there's like 3,000 or 4,000 people that will participate in them, and they give away all kinds of prizes for different spots for biggest fish, the littlest fish, or maybe the 25th biggest fish, stuff like that. And there's usually some type of raffle too that's associated with them. There's usually some ice castles given away and some trucks and trips and stuff like that. So we'll be doing a few of those. The one thing that I don't like about some of them though is that they'll have where you can't use an ice house or a shelter. There'll be no shelter tournaments. They want you just to sit out in the open, so they'll go up and down the lines of people. They'll make sure that people aren't cheating or anything like that. Those ones are fine if the weather is cooperating, but the end of January and early February, we can be, you know, negative 20 degrees, and if the wind is blowing, we can get down there in the wind chills. And so those ones aren't fun to fish when it's really cold out, but people get pretty creative, though, of how they keep the holes open and stuff. They'll take out some coffee cans and put some charcoal in it and light that up and set it next to their hole so they keep the hole from freezing up. And then you always see some really creative contraptions that people put on their sunflower heaters and Mr. Buddy heaters and stuff to direct the heat to them out in the open. It gets to be kind of cool to see some of that stuff. We did try a couple new spearing decoys today, though. Unfortunately, the last time we were out, last Tuesday, that spearing decoy that I bought Jackson for his Christmas present got knocked off the line and is in the bottom of the lake. So I had to go get him another one of those, and then I picked up one that was a little different color. It was kind of a pinkish color, and that actually worked pretty good. That's the one that brought in most of the fish today. Bass and Bink says, "Where's Misty?" Well, Misty, she's probably going to join us after a while. Right now, she is outside doing some chores, watering the cows and stuff. So we have a couple heads of cows. We got some hogs outside too, some chickens and ducks, and we got a pony and some goats. So we have a few different kind of animals. And anyway, she's out there filling up waters and doing stuff like that. But she did tell me that she probably would stop by after she got done with that and hang out for a little bit. but I heard, so we have this bait shop that we like to go to all the time. It's convenient because it's always on the way to the lakes, and he sells bows, and he actually sells some guns and stuff too. And that's actually where I bought my wife's bow a couple of years ago, and that's how the whole Minnesota Public Radio thing happened and everything. But I found out that they closed down. They closed the doors and filed for bankruptcy. So I was a little sad to hear that today. That we won't be buying anything from them anymore, and we'll have to find a different bait shop to go to. It kind of sucks for us because that's the one that is on the way, and we don't have to drive out of the way at all. And he was always really good too. Really good bait, and it was always very reasonable and everything. And it was a little selection of everything at the store there, but apparently he couldn't make it, and not enough people stopping by there, and ended up closing his doors. Swamp Stalker says, farm life never ends. That's right, never does. Cows are always looking for something to eat, and they need something to drink all the time. They're never happy, it seems like. But yeah, she went in early today while we were out fishing. She actually went and got a load of hay from a guy that we buy hay from, and so she was doing all that stuff today. The one good thing about it though is we don't have a lot of head of cattle, so it's a daily thing, but it doesn't take hours and hours and hours to do chores. We just keep a couple to feed ourselves and sell a couple here and there, but usually we have, right now we have 3 head of cows. The most we've had at one time was 10, but we usually keep somewhere between a handful to 10 or so. And goats, I don't know, we have, I think we have 12 of them out there right now. Misty usually milks them and stuff, but we didn't do that this year with James being born. She just didn't want to have to milk twice a day every day, which I understand that. Then we make cheese and stuff out of the milk when we do milk them. And then the chickens and stuff, we raise those for meat and eggs, of course. And the hogs, we do the same for meat. And then we sell a few here and there. We usually don't keep any more than around 20 hogs at one time. We breed 2 sows every year. And then whatever they get for a litter, then we feed those out and sell them as butcher hogs. Swamp Stalker says, my oldest just started driving, so I send her to the feed store now. That's pretty cool. I can't wait until Jackson gets his license and stuff, and he can do a little more chores and stuff like that. It's good when the kids start getting a little older. They can start doing more chores and stuff around the house, and it helps out a lot. But Jackson is getting to that age where he's helping out a lot more around the farm and stuff, and it won't be too long and James will be able to do some stuff too and go muck some stalls and whatnot. It builds a good character anyway. The house that we're putting out tomorrow for my buddy, he and I built that a couple of years ago. It's a skid house. It's 4 by 10. It's 5 feet tall, and then we put a couple 2 by 6s underneath as skids. It's a pretty nice house. He insulated it up real good. It doesn't take anything to heat that house, and Let's see, he put, I think there's 6 angling holes in that house. It's a pretty nice house. It's not too terribly heavy, and it pulls around on the ice pretty well. He built it to fit on one of his tilt bed trailers, so we winch it up there, and then we can tilt it, and it just slides right off. It works just about as good as a wheeled house. Bassenbink says if Florida has the same driving requirements as Ohio, your daughter is about 16. That's the age up here in Minnesota too. 16 for a driver's license. You can get your permit at 15. You can drive farm equipment and stuff though much younger than that. I don't even know. I think it's 12. You can drive like a tractor and stuff like that down the road. That's how I started learning to drive, though. Was out on the farm, basically out in the the wheat fields and stuff, picking up straw and whatnot with the pickup and trailer, and so by the time I was old enough to actually get my license, I had already been driving for a while. Swamp Stalker says that's why you don't see her in my videos. She is never home. Actually, I think I hear my wife in the kitchen right now. So I think she's done with her chores. I imagine she'll be stopping by here soon. I think Jackson said he was going to stop by a little later on too. I'm going to apply for our bear license this spring. Our lottery, they have a lottery up here for bear permits. We've done that a couple years already and haven't gotten picked, but you get the preference points, so each year that you get a preference points and go back into the lottery, it's another chance to win. So I think I got a good chance of getting drawn this year, so we'll probably be doing some bear hunting this fall, which will be pretty cool. That's one thing that I have never done. I've never gone bear hunting at all. I've had family members that have done a lot of bear hunting through their life, but I personally have never been out. I don't have a lot of bear right where I live here, but a few hours away is when you start getting into bear country here in Minnesota, and they have quite a few of them. We do the same here for gators. That would be cool to try that too sometime. I've never I've watched it on TV and stuff with people hunting gators and stuff, and going out and trapping them and stuff. That looks pretty intense too. I have eaten gator before though. I have relatives down in Florida, so I've been down there a couple times. And while we were down there, they had some gator meat, and so I have tried that. It wasn't that bad. I would definitely eat it again. I've got a camp to bear hunt. I just can't seem to go. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I just I've tried the last few years to get a permit, but that's one thing I've never done was a bear hunt. There's a lot of things that I haven't hunted for, but that's one thing that people do around here in Minnesota that just haven't tried it yet. Yeah, deep fried. That's how we had it, and it was pretty good. It was seasoned and had some like Cajun seasoning and stuff on it, and it was pretty good stuff. Rippin' Lips 57, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Hope your weekend's going well. But I have eaten some pretty weird things in my life, though. I do like to go to like wild game feeds and stuff like that, and that's where I've been able to experience a lot of the things that I've eaten. But I've eaten snake before, king snake. I've had beaver. I've had raccoon. I've eaten like musk oxen, water buffalo. I've also had like caribou, snapping turtle. Snapping turtle's pretty good. There's a lot of weird things that I've eaten. There are different things that a lot of people haven't had the chance to. Sea Pro Fishing with Wayne. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. I hope your weekend is going fantastic. This is what's up, everyone. Chiming in from Florida's Treasure Coast. That's right, Terry. Rocky Mountain oysters. I've also eaten those. I was a little tricked, I think, into eating them, but I have tried Rocky Mountain oysters also. And to be honest, they weren't bad. I probably won't eat them again just because of what they are, but they weren't bad. They weren't bad. But I always enjoy like wild game feeds and stuff. It's pretty cool. You get to eat a lot of different things, and not only a lot of different meats, but a lot of different ways of preparing the meats. So it's pretty cool. Doing good. Getting ready for the father-son sheep's head fishing trip in the morning. Well, that's awesome. Good luck to you guys. I haven't done any ocean fishing or anything like that. Hope to one day, but I have not done anything like that yet. It's always been inland fishing, freshwater fishing. I have fished a lot of rivers and streams and stuff like that. I have not fished any of the Great Lakes yet either, but hope to do that someday. And I mentioned before, but I plan on this summer doing like a trout kind of trip with Jackson around Minnesota. There's a bunch of streams and stuff that they stock with trout, and so I kind of want to do this maybe a weekend, you know, where we do an overnight or something, and we drive through and hit a few trout streams and fish them for, you know, 4 or 5 hours or whatever, and see how that goes. I think it'll be pretty fun. Sea Pro Fishing says, if you're in my area ever, I will put you on the big boys. Well, you betcha. If I find myself down in Florida, I will definitely take that offer up. I do have some relatives that live down there, so there's a good chance that I end up in Florida here sometime. I know I do watch a lot of videos with people out saltwater fishing and stuff, and